down here and speak about labor issues and the average Nigerian. So the Nigerian Labor Union suspended its planned nationwide strike action and nationwide protest that it planned to picket all central bank offices across the country, including that one in Abuja, over the scarcity of naira notes and few queues that we see across the country in several filling stations. That plan was stalled when the leadership of the union said that there have been considerable amount of actions to deal with the issues raised. Now, the Minister of Labor and the federal government had also intervened and had conversations with the labor unions to quell that plan, which could have destabilized the flow of the economy or the activities of government. But let's speak with the Minister of Labor and Employment. Senator Ngige is live with us on the program. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. It's good to see you. And let me begin with the kind of promise that, of course, I like first and foremost, before we even go into these issues, to get your view. You are a member of this government, and the kind of warning that the DSS gave out today, let me get your view on what you make of it.
Well, sure, I'm a part of the government, like you said. I will not have any view or opinion that will be different from that of the DSS. They have issued a warning, so to say. So I think what they did is a step in the right direction. It's something that can be a deterrent if there are such people or such clandestine maneuvers going on. That serves as a warning notice that is known that such a situation exists and that the DSS have their eye on the ball. So it's okay. I have nothing against it.
Oh, so this is perhaps discussed also at the cabinet meeting. Was this raised at all?
No. It's not raised today at the Federal Executive Council meeting. It's a security issue. So it's between the President, Commander-in-Chief, National Security Advisor, and the service chiefs. Yeah.
Well, one of the, some other issues that could be of national security issue is perhaps one of those that you intervene on, and would like to know the promises that you made and what you told the labor leaders, because they said considerably they've seen some actions, but it doesn't look like those actions are already performing wonders with Nigerians in terms of the scarcity of naira notes and fuel scarcity, and of course the electricity tariff is one of the agitations of the labor union. What did you tell them? What promise did you make to them? And in fact, you know that it's just a suspension. It's not as though that they've killed the idea of the nationwide strike.
Well, Sharon, first and foremost, I think I want to thank the Congress, the NLC, for the matured manner in which they handled the proposed industrial action. Picketing, sit down at home, marching in the streets, and not going to work are all industrial action. Strike, because some workers will have to withdraw their services, is also industrial action. But they sounded a notice in line with Trade Dispute Act, served it to us, and served the CBN. As a matter of fact, the leadership of the NSC now, I have to say, I gave them plenty of kudos when they came, because they followed the normal channel for doing things. They have to notify the Ministry of Labor. The Ministry of Labor is in charge of industrial disputes. Exclusivity is for the Ministry of Labor and the federal government in matters of industrial dispute, no matter how you look at it. Industrial dispute, arbitration, fixing of national minimum wage is an item 34 in the exclusive legislative list second schedule. So they did the right thing. And when they sent their letter, we forwarded it to the CBN governor and said, Governor, hey, look at this. This a potential situation that can degenerate into security threats. So see what you can do. And we monitored it, and we wrote back to the Congress and said, action is being taken. And they kept their cool. This thing ended on a Friday. That same Friday, we invited them to a meeting because our contact at the CBN shows that the CBN has started reaching out also to them. So the governor of the CBN also did, he did it right. He did it right. Because in some cases, you give a proactive notice to people, some employers or some other persons, and they keep quiet. What is at stake there is a dispute of interest and a dispute of rights that have been mixed together by the labor union. The labor union know what they are doing, because if they had said it's only for Nigerian masses and the policy itself, then it becomes a dispute of interest. But they now said, oh, our workers can't perform, they are suffering, they can't even go to their work because they don't have the money to transport themselves and things like that. So it becomes a dispute of interest and a dispute of right mashed together. So I think they did well, and we discussed very well, because before then they have started some discussions with the governor and his officials, and so when we came, each party gave an account of what they have done. The governor said, we have since Thursday, Friday, punched in more cash to the money deposit banks, the commercial banks, and they are dispensing them. We have even asked them also to work on Saturdays, Sundays, and they showed evidence. Even the NSC said, yes, our field operations people have also told us that things are easing. And that was it. We now agreed that we will monitor the situation and continue dialoguing. So the issue of picketing and disputes, we put them aside. Then agreed that we can then be dialoguing, which is one of the social instruments in industrial disputes. So we've given out strike and opted for dialoguing. That's what we're doing. And rightly, they have called back their organ, the particular organ that gave them the mandate to call out everybody on an industrial action after Friday if the CBN doesn't respond. They called them back, and yesterday they met, and everybody gave the report. The people are coming from states and local governments, so they all converged in Abuja and gave their various reports. And the reports are the same, that money is now coming out.
All right.
I have also directed the labor controllers in the states to look at the station and also report to us.
Yeah.
So that's
Minister, let's get straight to the point. And the fact is that Nigerians are not looking forward to a mid-gap measure. They're not looking for an interim measure. They are looking for a permanent fix to these problems. Talking about the scarcity of cash and the fuel scarcity. For almost a year or more, Nigerians have been sleeping at fuel stations trying to get fuel into their cars. Electricity tariff has been an agitation of the labor union. So are there permanent measures that the government has put in place to fix these problems?
Shaun, you know, the government is in its twilight. We are going. The government is going. But the labor union know that we had a joint committee on electricity and fuel importation and fuel distribution. That committee is not dead. That committee is still working. The NSC, Ministry of Labor, and the relevant ministries, and the Pengasin and TUC leadership, we are all in this particular joint committee. That committee is headed by Minister of State, Festus Keyamo, and the committee is still alive. So there is nothing like a stopgap measure. No, it's not a stopgap measure. Even the one on the cash crunch is part of the cashless policy. It's a cashless policy that is coming on. It's implementation that's run into a hiccup. It's not smooth. So the CBN is trying to smoothen it out. But that doesn't detract from the fact that you are trying to do a cashless policy in such a way that the volume of cash in circulation will not be what it used to be. They said it was about 3 trillion or thereabout, and they want to cut it down. Yes, cutting it down is part of that cashless policy. Some of us travel abroad. You bring out cash abroad, and people are looking at you and staring at you as if you are coming from Mars, because they're not used to people bringing out cash. If you're bringing out cash, you're either a drug peddler or you are a man who is doing Yahoo or something like that. You're not doing a clean business. In fact, they regard anybody bringing out cash and doing cash business as somebody who is doing laundering, cash laundering, money laundering. That is the first thing that occurs to them. So even here, there are temporary relief we've gotten from kidnapping, from banditry, people asking you to go and deposit 50 million cash for them in the bush for them to take and release somebody. The thing has abated, it has gone down. So it's not a policy that is bad, no. It's the implementation. It should have a transition. It should be done gradually. But I think what happened was that there was a compression in terms of the time. But luckily, the Supreme Court have said, do till December 31. And the CBN agrees, everybody agrees. So we're all working towards that period. There is no way we will go back to the old time when people carry 100 million cash and they go bring it into the market or into wherever and do business with it. No. This policy is erase that. They want to get it out. In fact, when you are using cash now, it should be cash for things that have little value, little volume, for money. If you're buying fruits, if you're buying some condiments from marketers who don't have accounts, everybody should now try to use an account. Even right now, as we speak, when our vehicles want to go and fuel, they do a POS or whatever.
Minister,
the chief driver in my
Minister,
company,
apologies.
my chief driver pays.
Yeah, Minister,
yes.
Apologies to cutting. So let me list a few things to you, Honorable Minister. I know that, as an elite in the society, some of these issues might not be staring you in the face, but these are some of the analyses that have been made by economic experts. These are the direct effect and impact of the cashless policy that you mentioned and the scarcity of Naira notes that have come afterwards, and in fact the issue of the scarcity of fuel. Now, economic experts have listed some of these direct impact. They said that it has worsened the already highly impacted poor cost of living of Nigerians. It has impacted on the flow of goods. It has reduced consumer spending. It has caused low sales for traders. It has depleted productivity in Nigeria and has worsened inflation that is already bad in that situation. And I'd like to ask you, as a member of the federal cabinet, how embarrassing is this for your government? For those who think that, did you do your prognosis properly before coming out with a policy like this, that Nigerians are already groaning under this very hardship that they are experiencing, economic hardship in the land, and you come up with this policy? What cushion are you giving to Nigerians because of what has impacted on their daily living?
Well, Sean, what you read out are not as bad as it's been said. Yes, people in the rural areas and people who don't believe in the banking system are those that have been talked about now. So perhaps what the banks will need to do, the CBN will need to do, is to ask their money deposit banks to get more into the rural areas.
But Honorable Minister, apologies to cut in again.
I started by telling you.
When you say things are not bad,
I told you again that
I'm concerned about the sensitivities of the millions of Nigerians that you're speaking to tonight. When you say things are not as bad, and I'm not stating things that I'm feeling personally, because I'm not allowed to express my personal opinion or my personal emotion about this matter. But I'm asking you, based on what experts have reeled out, when you say that things are not as bad, how bad do you think things are? Are you really feeling what Nigerians, the average Nigerians, are feeling? And that's going to be a big question, isn't it?
I'm feeling it, Shehu. I've told you already that I can't buy fuel. I don't do POS and all those things. But I have people working with me who are doing POS. I use them to buy those things that I cannot, and then later they get a transfer. So all I'm saying is that the policy took everybody by surprise. I don't know whether to say it by surprise or that it didn't give enough time, because they gave us the warning last year, about 3 months. And so I'm not really saying that there is no suffering in the land with it. There is some pain. But I'm a physician. I give you chloroquine, it's bitter. You take it to get well when you have malaria.
Well, is it not embarrassing?
I jab you.
Minister,
I jab you.
Is it not embarrassing?
Listen,
the government is in place to relieve the pains of the people, not to add to it. Is it not embarrassing that you create a policy that Nigerians are groaning under?
Shehu, I have told you that the policy is not smooth in implementation. I admitted that. But whether it's a good policy, yes, it's a good policy. That's all I'm telling you. There will be no intimidation about it. We will say what is right. You travel abroad. You came back from America the other day. Did you carry $10,000 or $20,000, more than $10,000 in your bag? You can't. If you take it, you declare it. You must declare it in America. And once you declare it, or even UK, you must declare anything more than $10,000. And once you start spending big dollars like that, some shops will even refuse to take it from you. Why can't we get our country like that? But it's a gradual process. I have agreed, and I said it will take time. It wasn't smooth, so it came with some pain. But overall, did we get some sound benefits from it? Yes, we did. We did. People didn't buy votes on the line during the elections. I used to go for elections, and I know what I see. There was no cash exchange for votes. It wasn't easy anymore. Kidnappers are on break now, they're on strike, so to say, or recess. We don't see them. Bandits, they have also gone on some holidays. If you take people from some homes, they will tell you that they can't even gather 1 million to give you. How much more asking them to come and bring 20 million to get back somebody they kidnapped? So these are some of the things. Don't also forget that NFIU, the World International Financial Intelligence Unit, they have put Nigeria on a list of where the countries that are not doing well in terms of money laundering, in terms of dirty money, and the rest of them all. Shall we continue to wear that toga? We must start a journey someday, and it's a journey of 1,000 miles. It must start with one step.
All right, Minister.
This is the first step.
Yeah, let's take
maybe that first step is not very good enough, but it's a step taken in the right direction.
Yeah, let's take a breather. Perhaps for those who live in the neighborhoods of those who are feeling the pinch and these hardship, might be able to tell a more vivid picture of what things are. But people are really going through a hard time because of these policies. You need to see the very violent pictures of what has happened.
The money is coming out. It's gradually coming out. I'm not an
but the question is that should we have gone through an unnecessary pain? That is one big question. But we'll shift attention away from that and we'll talk about the benefit for the average Nigerian, whether or not they should be expecting an increased minimum wage. We'll be asking the Honorable Minister when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. So much everyone for staying with us on the program. Honorable Minister for Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, has been speaking with us on the state of the nation, and especially what could bring food on the table of an average Nigerian and the standard of living. Let's get to this issue. I know that your government is at its twilight, and you've said that as much. But there is something that you mentioned earlier this year, about 2 months ago, when you said that the federal government is working to review the minimum wage. You also said that the federal government is working to fast-track that process to see that it happens in May. What news can you tell Nigerians? How much are you looking at? What is the figure you're looking at? And is it possible that that could come into effect, or you get it to somewhere before you leave office on 29th of May?
Okay, Shengu, your question is double-barreled. I never said it's a new minimum wage that we're giving. What I said, actually, I think that was in January or so, or December, January, that the federal government is looking at giving people in the public service a pay raise to take care of the increased cost of living. And that is correct. In the Presidential Committee on Salaries, we have done something for the civil servants. That's the hardcore civil servant, or those who are on what we call consolidated public servant scales, COMPS is called. It's for public, it's civil servants, and some corporations, MDAs that are on that COMPS. COMPS is the salary scale for civil servant. So we have handled it, we made our recommendation, we put a percentage for President to approve. We have approved it at our own committee level. And we said it should take effect from January 1. We have a provision in the budget for it, in the 2023 budget. So we're not afraid of saying, Mr. President, we need you to look at this and approve it. The money is been appropriated under the service-wise route for payment for such. So that is number one. So whenever that approval is gotten, the civil servants or those on COMPS, because some agencies of the federal government are on COMPS and earning what the civil servants are earning, all those agencies, all the civil servants will get that pay raise. It's a peculiar allowance for them to cushion the effect of inflation, increase in cost of living, increase in transportation, increase in housing, increase in electricity and other utilities. That's what money is supposed to be. It takes effect from January 1, 2023. Again, some corporations, agencies of government, taking a cue from this, we have approved also for them in Presidential Committee on Salaries different percentage of pay raise depending on the particular peculiarity of the organization. If you're working in MPA, we are giving MPA a pay raise. They are getting that one since the last one they got in 2013. It has taken effect from January 1, 2023. NIMASA, ditto. Some other organizations, FIRS and the rest of them all, they are going to give pay raise to their people to take care of this particular increase in cost of living, general cost of living. I mentioned the compartments where we looked at housing, transport, energy, food prices, and all the rest of them. So that's one aspect of your question. Second leg of your question, minimum wage. We did a minimum wage negotiation in 2018, ended it in 2019. More than 1 year. And one of the beauty of what we did at that time, Ama people headed the committee, I deputized and co-chaired with her. It is a tripartite discussion involving public sector, private sector, state governments who are big employers, because the people you are talking, most of the people we are talking about are the employee of the state government, and then the private sector. So we got everybody, Employers Association, NECA, Small and Medium Scale Industries, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, NASIMA, and everybody. We met for 1 year plus, about 15 months, and then authored the minimum wage that went to National Assembly, but it was tinkered there, and we all came out with 30,000 as minimum wage, an increase from 18,000 that was done by the Jonathan government to 30,000, 66.3% rise. That's what it was, from 18 to 30. Now, we entrenched in that bill or law that came out from it that minimum wage will now have an automaticity of review every 5 years.
After 5 years, yeah.
So from 2019, every 5 years. So from 2019, when it came into effect, to 2024 will be 5 years. But we also made a recommendation in our document and which we submitted to government and the law, that the discussion, the negotiation should start 1 year from May 2024, when it's supposed to kickstart or take effect. So I'm envisaging that from May 2023, as from May 2023, which is this year, the government will empanel the new minimum wage review committee for the nation. So in my handover note and in my transition committee report, which I have submitted and which we are going to hand over to the transition committee and the next government, I'm recommending that the discussion starts anytime from May 2023. It's envisaged that the committee, they will work well because they will work fast. They will see the template we used and the organs that assisted us, National Salary, Incomes and Wages Commission, a vital organ of government that deals with everything about wages and salaries.
All right.
They are part
Minister,
of it. In fact, they always host the secretariat, and so they will get a review, and 2024.
The indices,
will have a new.
The indices upon which the Minimum Wage Act of 2019 was hinged on, a lot of water has gone under the bridge. Those indices, the inflation rate at about that time was about 10%, but now is over 20%. So the indices are different. So just briefly, if you can tell Nigerians, if you are to suggest a new minimum wage, what figure do you think might fit, considering that Greece is talking of a new minimum wage in that country of 780 euros from April 1, and you look at nearby Ghana. Ghana has about 14 cedis, that's about $1.25 per day minimum wage. Angola, $68 per month as minimum wage. In South Africa, $1 per hour as minimum wage. What figure do you think makes sense for today Nigeria for an average worker?
Shego, you You are trying to make me preempt the work of a committee.
No, I'm just asking
disappoint you.
Yeah, I'm just asking you to tell Nigerians.
No.
If your government really have
I can't
understand the predicament of the average Nigerian, do you?
We do. But what I can tell you is that whatever is being paid in Ghana Nigeria will not detract from something around it, or even more. We can do better. Why? In the last committee, we put country by country as part of the parameters with which we worked. So it will be the same thing now. Like I told you, salaries, incomes, and wages, they're still there. It's a very vital government arm for wage discussions, salary review, and the rest of them all. So they are going to take, not we, because I will be out by then, they are going to take all these parameters you're bringing out, the inflation, moving from 10% to now 20%, they will put everything in a holistic basket.
All right, Minister.
And weight it together. So come out with even the money, because just wait a minute, if the petroleum subsidy is removed, and the government is able to save from subsidy alone about 300 billion minimum a month, of course, government will do the needful.
All right, Minister, we're out of time, but let me ask you. So you've spent 2 terms as the minister in charge of labor and employment. I mean, your government has planned, you gave out a plan to say that you will get about 10 million new jobs for 10 years. That's one of the plans that your government has said. You are the minister in charge of employment. But let's look at it. And perhaps for those who have criticized your government as a failure in that regard, I'd like to get your reaction to it. When your government came into power, the unemployment rate stood at 8.19%. The unemployment rate, it's about 33.3%, if not higher right now. For those who say that your government is a failure in that respect, how do you respond to them?
Again, I laugh when you say failure. Let me tell you, unemployment was about 8.9 or 9% thereabout when we came. Sharon, what was the Nigerian population at that time? Population. It has increased. At least, if nothing by about 15% by UN indices. What was the cost of petroleum, the monoproduct for Nigerian economy? $120 a barrel of oil. What was the volume? 2.2 million barrels a day. What did our government get when we came? There's a melting from 2.2 million barrels a day to 1 million barrels a day, and at one point even $500,000 barrels a day. Price of oil again moved, oscillated and went down to $80, from $80 to 70, 60, 50, at one point $30 a barrel. And even during the COVID period, we couldn't sell. But no earning. We are negative. Minister,
is that an excuse?
We are very negative. No.
You have driven the rates.
Listen.
You did not. It went not only to about 20. It went to over 30%, Minister. I mean, and you have said this for almost 8 years that is the reason. But the question here again is, just a moment.
No, we didn't tell you we were creating
how many jobs were you?
We didn't tell you.
How many jobs were you able to create in 8 years? How many?
We said we are lifting people from poverty in 10 years.
How many people were you able to lift out of poverty? Because the multidimensional figure of poverty that was released was way over 130 million people in Nigeria, multidimensionally poor.
Well, that's what it is. We suffered a force majeure. A force majeure was suffered by COVID.
But I mean,
the economy. We went into 2 recessions. Talk about it. How many governments before us went into recession? It wasn't caused by us. We tried as much as we could. Stopped the food importation. We did other thing. We grew what we ate and made sure we kept the country afloat. We didn't have the eruptions you had.
All right, Minister, we are totally out of time now. Yeah.
Because Venezuela economy is like our own.
Yeah.
So you should give us some kudos. We tried our best. Other people will come in. Maybe you will join them in that cabinet, and you people come and try your best. We wish you luck.
I love my job very well. I said it that I may be a journalist for life, but this is what we are being called. This is a calling for some of us. But thank you so much, Honorable Minister. The figures are the ones, and your critics are the ones calling you a failure in this respect. If you've made promise and the figures are not rhyming, the figure coming from your own government, those who are out on the street without jobs are the ones asking and saying,
don't permit the government to do what they are proposed to do, too bad.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Senator Chris Ngige, Minister of Labor and Employment. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate it.